What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Love of the Game. We're finally here, the end of the road of Euro 2020 2021. Unexpected teams are here, but if you haven't watched the entire segment, our entire playlist of the Euros is up here right in this corner. Make sure you click on it and you'll see all the videos that you've done from the group stages till right now. Our predictions haven't been always on point. There was 1 week where Sujay was on fire. He got everything right. And then it went all downhill for him last week. He got one out of two.
I got both of them there.
1 second. Let me get to why I'm saying this, because both of you are fence sitters when it came to England versus Denmark. So let's
Come
not
on,
go
man.
there. And now
Today
we're
you
here
have
at the
gotten an Oscar
finals.
performance.
We're here at the finals. Diving, green light, whatever. We've got two teams. We've got Italy versus England. They're meeting at Wembley. Ani's already there right now. He's waiting for the players to come out in anticipation of what's going to be 67,000 plus in the stadium. It's going to be mad. It's going to be crazy. But guys, we're here. We're at the end. Two teams which no one had predicted, but as the tournament has progressed, they've gone from strength to strength. Let's begin with the Italians and then let's finish with the team that's coming home. What do you guys think about Italian thing, Ani?
Well, as you rightly said, both teams are, unexpectedly in the final. We would have thought that it would have been, say, a Belgium, Portugal, or a Netherlands versus Belgium. These were the fancy teams, or a France.
Yeah.
But hey, we have England, we have Italy. England's playing in their home turf of Wembley. They'll be sitting here in these dugouts. The Italian journey has been, it's been spectacular so far. They began the group stage, in a great hurry to score goals. Then they had a bit of a test against Austria in the round of 16. They dominated Belgium. They had many anxious moments against Spain in the semifinals. But this is the Italian team that the ancestors would have said has survived everything. They've dominated. They've been tactically brilliant. They've just about hung on by the skin of their teeth. This is an Italian team that's seen it all, and here it is in the final.
Sujay, you have anything about the Italians? Because you've been following the Italian league because you don't like any English team, and the reason for that is in a preview of the Italy versus like the England preview, because Sujay loves Italian teams and hates English teams. So Sujay, you have anything to add?
Nothing as such, or nothing in particular actually. But the only thing that I'm a bit disappointed is their performance, especially against Spain in the semi-finals. And to be honest, I really don't think that Italy deserved to be compared to how good and fantastic Spain were. And Spain were extremely unlucky to crash out in a penalty shootout. And yeah, but anyway, it's okay. It's Italy. I love watching them in the finals. So yeah, all in all, I'm fine. I'm comfortable.
Yeah, it's a game of chance, and Italy took their chances with the penalties. They got through. But do you think the way they played, and this is like predicting, like, do you think the way they played, the way the team was set up, can they overcome the English, or should Mancini tweak the team a little?
Yeah, I think Mancini should definitely take a lot of things, to be honestly frank. One thing is, especially in the form of Ciro Immobile, he has been woefully off form last 2 3 games. I don't know whether they have to start with uh, say a Pelotti or Immobile in the striker's position. And also, there is one more thing that I would love to see that Mancini does this time, because on the back end of what happened against Spain, the thing is that I would love to see Chiesa come from the bench. I would love to have that kind of a Jack Grealish impact that Gareth Southgate has been constantly
We'll
having.
get to Jack Grealish in a moment.
No, I'm just no, Paul. I'm just telling you the kind of impact and
Yeah.
like what kind of things that I'm expecting from Mancini. Yeah, you can definitely get that. But the reason why I think this might not be the case is because one is Mancini is very, very stubborn. he will not be changing his tactics for anyone or anytime soon. And also, there is a difference between that Spanish midfield and the English midfield. That Spanish midfield are masters at pressing game, that counter pressing an opponent's midfield out of the game. Okay, I don't see that happening with England as much, because as much as Phillips is notorious for having played under Bielsa's team, but I really think that Declan Rice, I don't think that he's that kind of a press expert. And also coming from like how will it be Mason Mount right now? Yeah, it's interesting to see whether will it be an English team that will be pressing or will how will Gareth Southgate start his formations.
No,
So it will be
yeah.
interesting to see. I do have some expectations of mine, but I really don't think that Mancini is going to change. It will be the same 4-3-3. It will be the same with Jorginho, Verratti, and Barella. I really think Barella is exhausted right now, and the same front three of Immobile. Uh, KSR might also start, and also uh, Insigne.
No, but you made a good point, Sujay, and that's where I want to bring Ani in on this. Like, can the English defensive midfield, basically the center two that they have of Phillips and Rice, can they combat a guy like Verratti who's been everywhere and has been getting the tackles and he's won the most tackles till now? Do you think they'll be able to deal with the physical presence that he's bringing and even a Jorginho is bringing? Do you think these guys can handle it? Because let's discount the attack of both sides as well as the defense and keeper. I think it's going to be one in the, because you've been going about it's the middle that's going to win. It's the midfield who's going to win the battle. Do you think these guys, the English, have a chance against the formidable?
Before I get to whether England actually have a chance, just wanted to say a couple of words about how this Italian team has been setting up and how it's been performing. Sujay made a couple of really good points there. Ciro Immobile has been out of form. It's the midfield which has been running the show. There are players like Berardi, there are players like Belotti who might deserve a chance. But if you think back at the last time Italy won a major tournament, and that was the World Cup. All those years ago, they had Luca Toni up front, and Luca Toni did nothing in that World Cup. There were players like Totti. There were, there was even Materazzi who turned up and scored. So it's something that has precedent. At the same time, in the semi-final, Spain were playing at a completely different level. They had clever players, they had tactical players. They had Busquets, they had Koke. So these are guys who play at Barcelona and at Atletico under Diego Simeone. So, they have that tactical, background where they can harass, they can outthink, they can outfox their opponents. And that's exactly what happened to Italy. Coming to England, they don't come from that same tactical background. Declan Rice and Calvin Phillips, for all the good work that they have done, they're not at this smartness level of a Busquets and a Koke, taking nothing away from them. Having said that, this England team is different because they have players from a variety of clubs. It's not just the Liverpool camp, the Chelsea camp, and the Manchester United camp like it's been in past tournaments. There is a great amount of variety. There are players from West Ham, there are players from Aston Villa, from Leeds United, from Borussia Dortmund. There's just one Liverpool player in there. There's a couple from Manchester United, from Tottenham Hotspur. So it's from all over the place. And not only that, you have the likes of John Stones, Kyle Walker and Raheem Sterling, who have played for Pep Guardiola at City. There's Henderson, who's played for Jurgen Klopp. There's Harry Kane, who's played under Pochettino and Mourinho. There's Sancho, who's played at Dortmund. There's Trippier, who's playing in Italy. So there's a lot of tactical awareness. There's a lot of tactical diversity which exists in this English team. And Southgate has been clever enough to allow these to get expressed. It's not as if he is like the managers of old, like a Sam Allardyce or something, who has a rigid physical system that he expects his players to play in. Yes, it has been well organized, it has been solid, but at the same time it's not been rigid. There's Grealish coming in playing his own part. There's Mason Mount coming in playing his own part. The Raheem Sterling has been used brilliantly. So tactically, I think the English have what it takes.
Sujay, just one more thing. It's Trippier plays for Atletico Madrid. He's a Simeone product right now, and he might move. But Sujay, there's one thing that I wanted to ask you. We've known your fondness for Gareth Southgate. You think he's the greatest tactician that was ever born?
No, for one game, I praised him. Come on, give me.
No, but going on back of what happened in the last game, with the way he set up and how he's going about it, do you think? And I want Ani, after Sujay finishes, to also answer this. Do you think that Southgate is using the experience he had as a player of going through these difficult situations, and is he the one who's giving confidence to these guys? Because the thing is, England team on paper are one of the best. Like you've mentioned, Ani, they've come from a plethora of clubs in England as well as in Europe. They're highly talented. They get a lot of money, but they've always faltered because they were mentally not in the game. They didn't know how to handle the pressure. Yes, they won in extra time with a penalty that shouldn't have been penalty. But that's a question for another day. Do you think Southgate, is the question, has instilled in the players like how he was as a player, like how he experienced stuff, like with him missing the penalty against Germany in Euro 96, or being in the same team that was there at Italia 90, which lost again on penalties, stuff like that? Do you think he's used his experience to guide the players in not making the mistakes, or just telling them, listen, it's okay to make a mistake, but you can always get back up, just enjoy the game, something?
Definitely. I definitely think that he has made wonderful use of his experience, and I'm definitely sure he has been sharing the stories of how he was during his Euro performances. I mean, like for the teams in the past they have been, but more than just that experience, I think what the thing that actually stands out for Southgate right now is this is a guy who is not so much built up in his head that is one of the greatest English coaches or anything like that. No, the only thing that he's trying to do is he's keeping it simple. He's not mixing it to that extent wherein it is confusing for the players. He knows each and everyone how the team is. He has taken his time. He has built a proper setup around his own ethos. He's keeping it simple. He's keeping it normal. He's not overcomplicating it, and he's giving a chance for each and every player in the team to express himself. Is not imposing his ideas or his methods to that extent wherein it becomes a sort of a confusing entity for any player who is coming into the team and performing them. Okay, no, that has not been the case. Any player, just like Mason Mount, just two games ago, earlier he could not start because of some of the quarantine reasons and other issues. But once he comes back to the team, was Mason Mount feeling out of the place? No. So I think this makes up for a team. The team dynamics. How you get that bunch of people feeling as one unit, performing in a tournament, and especially an English team wherein there is already, to begin with, even us in the channel also, we also slated a lot of things for him, that he's been trying to be too negative or he's too defensive, he's not utilizing his attacking prowess.
Yep.
The thing is, no, it doesn't matter to him. He has a proper plan and he's sticking to that. He's keeping it simple. It's edible for each and every player of us, and everyone loves it. That's it. And the most important thing is they're winning games. End of the day, in football, there is only one thing that matters: is the results. Whether this person dived or that referee had a very bad decision to make, or this, that, no, it doesn't matter at all. End of the day, the only thing that matters is results. And England are in the final, and I think the maximum credit should go for Gareth Southgate.
Ani, do you think the
Absolutely,
same thing,
Sujay.
Ani? Like, do you echo?
Absolutely, I agree with Sujay on nearly everything there. And continuing from where he left off, this is an England team that has somehow managed to shut the hype out. There have been no incidents where there's a player who's broken the team rules. There's no player who's been caught out in a nightclub. There's no media leaks about some kind of infighting in the training ground. These are things which have plagued England over the years, over previous tournaments. But somehow that's not been the case this time. And a lot of that credit should go to Gareth Southgate. He was an extremely successful player himself. He's been he's played really well at the top levels. So I think he knows what it takes to be a Premier League footballer, to be an England international footballer. And he's making sure that none of that circus that exists outside the training ground, outside the dressing room, has affected the players, and that's been really important. There have been great English players over the years. There's been Gerrard, Lampard, Scholes, Beckham, Sheringham. All of these are great players in the Premier League, but somehow they've come up short. This is the first finals of a major tournament that England is reaching since they won the World Cup in 1966. There have been so many talented players since then. There have been so many great managers or big names that have been managers of the England team since then. But, Southgate is the only one who's got them through to a final. There is something special, whether you call it tactical brilliance. Is he the greatest tactician? Maybe not. Is he inventing something new and giving something new to the game of football? Maybe not. Is he in the same level as Rinus Michels or any of them? Definitely not. Okay, guys.
No, I get where you're going. Like,
Sorry.
and with what both
Yeah.
of you said, do you think that's where he was able to handle the whole media hype about him taking off Jack Grealish? Because he said, no, this is what the team needed. Whereas everyone hyped that Grealish came on and then Grealish, they took him off. But he came out and made the statement, no, this is what the team needed, and Jack knew it. So do you think he's let all this, what's that? Not Donnarumma, what's that?
No, he hasn't let all the hype of whatever
Huh.
the criticism, anything get into him. He's just being himself. He's just being himself. Yes. You're right, Paul. I think you're right.
No, more than being right, I think like how both of you have said, how I think everyone has echoed over here. We've seen his growth in the tournament, like from saying he's a negative guy, because he made the statement against Ukraine, and against Denmark, he was smart because he didn't want to concede. And even though they conceded, because that's what you guys said, England had not conceded, that we have to see like how they perform after they concede. They conceded the goal, but they were still able to perform. They were still able to come back and whatever way was happening. And they did. They showed they have the resilience. They showed that they have a fight, which most English teams wouldn't have had previously. Because English, they didn't have that backbone that, yes, we can do this. Like when they're winning, free-flowing football, whatever. So you think that Southgate has put in that workman, that blue-collar attitude into this team, that you have to work together as a team. It doesn't matter. But don't you think Mancini's done the same thing with his Italian team also? Because it's, and I know I mentioned Donnarumma. I didn't mean that. It's basically those drama queens that you've had over the years in both the English camp as well as the Italian camp. It's always something or the other. Don't you think Mancini's also done the same thing with the Italian team? He's instilled, I know both of you have also mentioned that Mancini can go off the ball. He's this is my team, I'm sticking with this. But hasn't he shown with his tactics or with the way the teams played, un-Italian like at the start, and then when it came to it, the defense has stepped up? Don't you think he's also brought in the same attitude to the players, like we have to work as a team? There is no I in team. That goes back to same whatever Ani you said about when they won in 2006. It was a team. There was no hype guy. Materazzi became a household name because of Zidane. You had Cannavaro was the best player of the tournament, and it's never happened that a defender is the best player of a tournament. And it was so scary.
But this Italian team is not solid in defense. If it had been the Italian teams of the past, a team under Capello, for example, and they had got that 1-goal lead, you could have bet your house that they would have closed shutters, parked the bus, parked the train, parked everything, and made sure that 1-0 lead stuck. But no, this Italian team is not quite the same. They're not as defensively super solid as teams in the past, and a bit of that blame should go to Mancini. It's yes, they've done a great job. There's the team atmosphere is great, but I think he held on to those substitutions for a little too long. The midfield was tiring. They had been given a proper workaround by the Spanish midfield. They were tiring, and that's how the goal came. It was a simple, straightforward ball through the middle. The midfield was tiring. They were slow to the pass. They were slow to think, slow to react. And probably if those substitutions had been made a little earlier, Italy could have hung on to that lead. That's where Mancini's stubbornness, where he thinks that if there is a formula that works, it should be followed to the T over and over again. And that's where Southgate seems to have a little bit of an advantage over him. Having said that, I'll leave a comment of this to our prediction time. Let's hear from Sujay for now.
No, there is. I seriously don't know what to say. I mean, with regard to Mancini, with regard to how Italy have been, Italy, I really did not expect their defense to be so good at the start of the tournament. And the way wherein Mancini's team had been blowing off teams, I mean, like they caught every one of us by surprise, winning games like 3-0, 2-0, scoring so many goals. I mean, like they surprised the hell out of everyone. Till Belgium, they had never faced any proper opponents, and they even blew. I think I would. There is something in the region of Belgium and Netherlands that they choke under some very special circumstances, and the same thing happened with Italy. But when they met Spain, like Annie made the point, Spain, player by player, they had technically better players than what Italy had.
Yeah.
Spain, it took them only just 10 to 15 minutes to expose the entire setup of Mancini, how vulnerable he is. Like I said earlier, Italy are very, very lucky to have been playing in the finals. And Gareth Southgate, I'm definitely sure, has made a tape of the entire game. They have been studying each and every position of all the midfielders. And I think coming back to the question of Verratti and also Jorginho, Barella is one guy. He is one person who will be running around everywhere. He is like one Duracell battery with speed. He just keeps running around. The two people who will be trying to control the midfield will be Jorginho and Verratti. And I think Southgate might Mason Mount. He will definitely start this game. Mason Mount is a person who will be, I think, marking one of probably Verratti. I think so. Harry Kane or Phillips will be marking Jorginho, and someone will be on Barella. The thing is that if at all you cut these three people, right, you cut these three people's ability to press. Or I see, this is the reason why I actually want KSI not to start the game. This is the reason why I want Italy to start with like just bore the hell out of everyone. It doesn't matter. Okay, no one is actually going to give you a special award for playing the most entertaining football and losing the final game.
Yeah.
No, it will be a it will be a national disaster. So the thing is that you have to be smart. Will Mancini be smart? Will he not be a stubborn ass once again? Will he really, really do what it is necessary for the team? Will he take out Immobile? Will he start? There are a lot of questions, but let us see. I really don't know. Once the match lineup comes, I think I will read this out. But yeah, I'm sorry for the rants, but
No, that's fine, man. That's fine. That's absolutely right. And listen, that's one of the reasons why we love the game. That's one of the reasons why this channel was created. So if you haven't, make sure you hit the subscribe button, smash the like, and share this video, because listen, we're all here after a long day of work, and we're here talking about a sport that we love. We talk about all sports. So subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more in store. Now, before we get into the prediction, or as we walk into the prediction, will this be won and lost by whatever the managers decide? Because I think the players are set. I think the players have their thing, because I think both of you have mentioned that Southgate will make the decisions, will take the tough decisions, and he'll be like, this is not working, I'm going to change it up. Or this is going to be this is what's going to happen. Will he do that, or will it be that Mancini gets the better, Mancini stops being stubborn? Do you think it's going to be decided by the manager's tactics or manager's decision, or will it be something else? This game's going to be won.
It is the manager's decision in probably every game, right? You know, the manager obviously sits down with the players, sits down with the rest of the coaching staff, assesses how different people look in training, tries to think about how the opponent is going to be set up, and you know, all of them put together, decide on a team. There is the entire personality and you know, the will of the manager as well. You know, and Mancini more than Southgate seems to be that forceful kind of personality. But it is a final. You know, Italy has come here through the difficult path. They've met Belgium in the quarterfinals. They've met Spain in the semifinals. It's obviously the harder route that Italy has taken to come here. Why? Because these are well-established teams with star players, with very good managers who've tested Italy out tactically. Mancini probably would have learned a few lessons along the way, would have learned how to tweak the system, how to tweak himself. You know, when he needs to make decisions, what kind of decisions he needs to be making on the move. Probably he's learned a thing or two along this way. England, on the other hand, they've had relatively easier opposition. You know, the Czech Republic, Denmark, all due respect to them, they've had very good tournaments themselves. But you know, in terms of giving England that workaround, it's not the same as what a Belgium or a Spain would have given to Italy. So you know, that's where I think Southgate might get a little overconfident, might get a little complacent, might have a little too much faith in the playing 11 that he's been putting out so far.
And that's a nice segue that we have going into our prediction. What do you guys think? Or are you guys again going to be sitting on the fence?
No, I will not be sitting on the fence. I think Italy will edge it out in the 90 minute. I mean, like by the 90th minute.
Okay, so Jay's got Italy.
Maybe a 2-1, 2-0 or a 2-1 for Italy.
Okay, 2-0 or 2-1 for Italy from Sujay. Ani?
I am going for an Italy win as well. It's going to be a cagey match. It's going to be a match where the teams are going to take their time to figure each other out, to feed each other out in the initial stages. I believe England are going to take the lead, and Southgate is going to return to the same tactic of trying to shut things down. And I think that's where Italy's opportunity is. They're going to equalize within the 90 and then win the game in extra time 2-1.
Okay, so that's it. You guys have laid down the marker. You've stuck your flag in the sand. You've drawn the line. This is Gladiator. Can the Roman army conquer England again? That's what people are going to be talking about. Will Rome be successful in England again? Will it be taking over? No, not happening. England have got this. They've got this, and it's coming home. No matter what you say, England have got this. If it doesn't happen, there'll be a forfeit. We'll see to that later. England are winning this. It's finally coming home, no matter what hate and shade everyone has thrown on this. I'm going to put back whatever you guys said. If Mancini is stubborn, Italy are going to lose this. It's all going to come down to who's going to be able to adapt to the pressure of the situation. And Mancini didn't do it when that goal was scored. He wasn't expecting them to score. He took the pedal off the gas, and it happened. Southgate adapted, did the stuff, got it, and Southgate is going to prove to all the entire world that he is going to be knighted in the December Christmas Queen's list, honor list. He's going to get a knighthood. Watch and wait. Guys, on that bombshell of a knighthood to Southgate, that's it from the guys at Love of the Team.
final of this. We will definitely have a entire Euro review with Paul words, this ending words play from the start. Definitely, man. We will be making one
So,
more.
Paul, quick question to you on the knighthood. You know, England win the Euros. Southgate receives his knighthood, and then they fail to qualify or get out of the group stage of the next World Cup. Is there something called revocation of
No,
a
no, there's no,
knighthood?
there's nothing like that. You get your knighthood, you're done. That's it. Southgate will get his knighthood, and then he'll like say, "I'm done being a manager." He'll leave on a
And
high.
on the same note, if he wins the
Set up a campus, right?
Yeah, Ani.
so if he wins the World Cup, does he get to apply to become king?
No, no, no. That's not there. But King Gareth doesn't sound that great.
So
but-
do you really think? Do you really think there will be a country called England if at all England win the World Cup after this?
Let's listen. People are gunning for a bank holiday on Monday if England win.
Yeah, Boris Johnson has already promised it, right?
If
Johnson
England
has
win.
promised-
If they don't win, it's going to be a lot of tears and sorrow, but that's not going to happen because England are going to win.
Unofficial bank holiday then.
And on that note, guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's it from us over here. It's been a great run following the entire Euros. We're going to do a recap video in the next one where we're going to talk about the winner finally. And I'm going to be able to wear my England shirt, which I've been keeping to the side, not wearing it, not jinxing it. It's something that's happened. Yeah. Subscribe. These guys are going for Italy. I've got England. England's going to win this. Take care, guys. See you soon.